The Angry Marks Podcast Network is brought to you by WrestleWork, a social network to connect, create, and share everything about pro wrestling. Check it out today at WrestleWork.com. You're listening to Emerson Witner's NXT Report on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Hello, AngryMarks.com. This is Emerson Witner, and this is your NXT audio update for March 11th, 2015. As mentioned, my name is Emerson Witner, and I am the host of the mildly successful Wrestling Outsiders podcast. We had our normal weekly show last night at 10 p.m. with part 4 of the history of WrestleMania. This coming Monday night, after Raw, is our special 50th episode spectacular. So tune in at blogtalkradio.com/Wrestling Outsiders to hear that and all 48 of our episodes from past years, or past months, actually. We're closing in on our 1-year anniversary in May. So check it out. I'd greatly appreciate it. So on to NXT tonight. Tonight's episode of NXT, I seem like I say this a lot, but this really was a very skippable episode. If you did not watch this week's NXT, you missed nothing. We'll go through it here match by match. They did have a TNA moment, and we'll get to that here in a minute. In fact, if you're on my Twitter, at TheReallyRealEW, you'll already know what I'm talking about. But first things first, we had a number one contenders match with the Lucha Dragons, the former champions, versus Colin Cassidy and Enzo Amore. Enzo and Colin left Carmella in the back. They said that this was to show how serious that the Jersey Boys were taking this match and they were concentrating on this bout. But I think it's because they finally realized what a detriment she is to the team. Enzo hit a punch to the face, which I honestly think is the first bit of offense he has ever scored. When Big Cass tagged in, he got all the offense, although most of his offense centered around throwing Enzo at his opponents. Kalisto did tag in at one point and went all lucha on Enzo, including hitting a head scissors into a face plant. The Lucha Dragons went for their double suicide dive at one point onto both of them, but Colin shoved Enzo out of the way and took the dive himself. In spite of that, Colin got back in the ring, dragged Enzo over to his corner, and got the hot tag. He tagged in, gave Kalisto the catatonic, and then threw Enzo off the top rope with a big splash for the win. And with that, Enzo and Colin are now the number one contenders to take on Blake and Murphy. And yes, I still have no idea which one is Blake and which one is Murphy. We got the TNA moment. They had a commercial talking about next week's episode where they're showing what they taped last week in Columbus, Ohio at the Arnold Sports Classic. That's all fine and dandy, except they announced that they were going to do the Kevin Owens-Alex Riley match, which they had yet to even book on the show, since the whole storyline was that Alex Riley had to prove himself by wrestling C.J. Parker. It also included a snippet of Owens' promo that he cut after the match. I know it's probably one of those things that no one cared but me, but it was very noticeable, and it came off to me like I was watching Impact or I was watching Thunder way back when. That was something WCW used to do as well. Alexa Bliss pinned Carmella. Carmella came out and got booed. I do love that Enzo comes out, gets a super babyface reaction. Colin comes out, and on a good day, he gets a little bit of a pop because Enzo's overflowing charisma rubs off on him, and most days he gets kind of a man indifference reaction. But then Carmella gets booed out of the building, and hopefully they've finally broken her off entirely from Enzo and Colin. At least I'm hoping they have. This match was to build up Alexa's match next week with Sasha. I think they failed in that regard. The match went maybe 5 minutes. I think it probably went longer than both the Divas matches on Raw went combined. But Carmella took 95% of the match, and then when Alexa had the offense, it wasn't very good. She did hit a wacky flipping splash off the top rope called the Sparkle Splash for the win. Honestly, I don't think anyone is looking at Alexa as a serious contender, and I think they're only doing it because Alexa is from Columbus, Ohio, so that's why they're building up that match for next week. Earlier today, Alex Riley said that he's been locked in a cage for the last 2 years, starving and watching everyone else eating. This was a strange promo, in that he was going in and out of this analogy, talking about how he is a starving animal but loves this business, making it sound like he loves the business of starving animals, which, I really hope is not what Alex Riley meant. In fact, I'd probably bet my last dollar if it's not. Tyler Breeze cut a promo on his HD broadcast quality cell phone, saying he's going to beat Hideo Itami tonight. Not much to the promo, but you know something? It was one of the best things on the whole show. Alex Riley pinned CJ Parker, much to no one's surprise. Parker, I don't think, has won a match on the WWE Network at all in 13 months. Riley's Titantron now says Rage, which made me think of Andy Levine, who, if you don't remember, he was the dude that won the Steve Austin edition of Tough Enough and was never seen again. His nickname was Silent Rage. I don't know why it made me think of it. Riley still has that same theme song he had before. That really weird one. Like, I'm sure if you heard it, you know what I'm talking about. Alex Riley looked like he just simultaneously got out of the shower and also had a really good cry before coming out for this match. And I was reminded while watching this 5-minute, fairly boring 5-minute match, I was reminded of this horrible Heath Slater-Alex Riley match that was taped for Superstars back in 2012 when I was at a Raw in Pittsburgh. And it was just the most boring match in the history of WWE. So this match didn't quite live up to that standard of a boring match. But, it wasn't really that good either. A-Rai hit a splash, and the man who once managed the heel in the main event of WrestleMania won the match with the Buff Blockbuster. I still don't know what's the stranger thing, that either The Miz won the main event of WrestleMania or Alex Riley was the manager of the man that won the main event of WrestleMania. I don't know. Kevin Owens came out and cut the promo that we've already seen, saying that he's going to end Alex Riley's in-ring career, and then also mentioned that he's going to put an end to the rise of Finn Balor. And then in the main event, for the fourth time in, I think, the last 6 or 7 weeks, Tyler Breeze wrestled Hideo Itami. They wrestled in the number 1 contenders tournament in January. They wrestled at TakeOver, and they wrestled a week after TakeOver. All 3 times Hideo won, and so this was the time for Breeze to get his win back. Jason Albert has degenerated into the worst commentator in WWE, and his newest one today is that Tyler Breeze was angry because he never got a one-on-one title shot. Spoiler alert, he did. He took on Adrian Neville, I think, in August, and ended up in a disqualification because Tyson Kidd interfered. The fans entertained themselves chanting Hideo's gorgeous and Breeze is Cratchit. This match built on their prior matches, with Tyler constantly avoiding Hideo's kicks. He did hit his supermodel kick for a near fall. Hideo eventually made his comeback, hit all of his kicks, but when he went for the corner drop kick, Breeze rolled out of the way. Breeze then hit the beauty shot and picked up the surprise win Breeze kind of slinked off to the back with that look on his face like, I just got kicked in the head and it hurts, and now I'm going to walk to the back. And ultimately, it was a fine match, but again, nothing, like I said, nothing to go out of your way to go watch. And that does it for this week. Nice short audio update. Next week, like I said, they're doing the Columbus show, which is featuring the Kevin Owens-Alex Riley match, along with Sasha Banks defending the title against Alexa Bliss. I have no idea if any of those other matches they taped are going to air. Allegedly, the Cesaro-Adrian Neville match is being used for DVD, so that's not going to be on the show. But the rest of it, who knows? But until next week, my name is Emerson Witner of the Wrestling Outsiders podcast. I want to thank you all for listening, and I'll see you in a week. Bye.